Okay, so I've received my mission of creating a trailer for GTA 6 Mumbai Edition. What if GTA 6 were to take place in Mumbai instead of Miami? Not a very easy mission, but not a very hard mission as well. And like every mission, the first step is to break it down into steps. Currently, I'm sitting in the planning room, but over the course of this entire video tutorial, we will be going through multiple rooms. First, we'll be going to the fine-tuning room, we'll move on to the diffusion room, we'll move on to the video room, and finally, the editing room. And through the course of going through all these rooms, we will learn about multiple tools that are available to our arsenal, and finally, getting a high-quality final output. So I'm just going to pull up my tool wheel in order to show you the kind of tools that we'll be using in this video. A bunch of tools, right? Okay, let's dive into it. Currently, we are in the planning room, and right now I'm just going to hash out a high-level plan for how we are going to execute this. All right, so let's clear our whiteboard. And no, I don't think a hot dog is a sandwich. So like any filmmaking procedure, we're going to follow a basic 3-step process. Number one, obviously, comes the script and the storyboard. This is where you write out exactly what you want to show, how it's going to look like, what is the lighting of these shots, is it a dynamic shot or is it a static shot, etc., etc. Now, if you've seen the GTA 6 trailer, you know that there are a lot of drone aerial shots, there are a lot of these dynamic car shots where people are chasing cars on the streets, there is a lot of police shots, there's a lot of camera recorded shots like the CCTV shots, etc. So we have a rough idea of what we are really looking for. The whole GTA vibe, there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of glamour, there's a lot of grandeur, and there's a lot of beach, obviously. The second step is the actual production. Number 3 is the editing. And like the script and storyboard process, we're not going to spend too much time talking about editing as well. So in order to get the script and the storyboard ready, I asked my favorite LLM Claude in order to generate me a 90-second trailer script for GTA 6 Mumbai Edition. And it basically gave me a bunch of ideas. I didn't stick to the exact ideas it gave me, but it was a pretty decent starting point. And then my team and I, we used our own creativities in order to add different frames, add different shots, etc., to it. Now, one thing that I would like to mention over here is whenever you create any kind of media using artificial intelligence and video models, you need to be open to a certain amount of change. Because once you start using these models, you'll start seeing the limitations of these models. Some shots might not even be possible. Like, for example, a video model is not really great with extremely dynamic action-packed shots. So you have to settle for something a level or two below that. So you have to get into this process knowing that this process will keep changing while you are working on the outputs. Now that I have a script, we get into the next process, which is the production, where we're going to spend most of our time. The absolute basic way video models work is you input a certain amount of text and out comes a video. So the most simple workflow that is available for video models is text to video. You say that I want a footage of a drone shot of Mumbai in a certain style, let's say anime or 8-bit or whatever it is, and the video model basically generates this video for you. But there is a problem with this approach. You'll very easily be able to generate a 5 to 10 second footage of whatever you type. But the next footage that you generate will not match in style and consistency and characters with the previous footage that you generated because video models simply don't have enough context. So this lack of context causes a dissonance in consistency. I won't be able to get consistent faces, consistent styles, and consistent themes and backgrounds in these videos. So text to video is probably not a great approach in order to go with it. A better approach is something like this. You first generate images using text in consistent styles. That is something that images can already do. If you define the style and if you give an image model a certain reference of a style or a character, it can continue creating that same kind of character or style through multiple images. You can keep the style and the character consistent over here. And using these images, you create videos. So we do a text to image workflow first and then an image to video workflow next. So ultimately, this is the basic workflow that we will be using in order to create our version of GTA 6 in Mumbai. Now, in GTA 6 Mumbai, we have 2 primary problems to solve. Okay? Number 1, consistent style. So the GTA 6 video has a certain style, right? It is not realistic, but it's not too gamey as well. It is somewhere in the middle, right? That's how the VFX and graphics have basically been done. If you look at the trailer, you'll get to know exactly what it is. So we need to replicate the GTA 6 style in terms of the aesthetics, in terms of the lighting, in terms of the mood. We have to basically try to replicate something like that. And the second problem that we're trying to solve is a problem that I ended up creating for myself. I wanted to add all my team members as NPCs and characters into it. So I need to get their faces in the GTA 6 style. So basically the frames that I create that have characters need to be people from my team, and that whole frame should look like it is an actual GTA 6 style. By the way, if you haven't seen GTA 6 Mumbai Edition that we made, you can check it out over here. And if you haven't seen the original GTA 6 trailer, you can check that out over here as well. So here's how the final workflow is going to look like. We first need to fine-tune a bunch of image models, both on the style and the characters. And for this, we're going to go to the fine-tuning room. And from there, we're going to use these models in order to create images that we can then convert into videos. So in order to create these images, we're going to use a tool called Comfy UI, and we're going to use this in the diffusion room. From there, we're going to use these images and convert them into videos. So we're going to go to the video room. And finally, we're going to stitch all these videos together in the editing room. It's going to be a series of rooms. It's going to be a series of tools. Lots to learn, lots to uncover. Let's head into the fine-tuning room. Welcome to the fine-tuning room. But let's start with a question. Why do we even need to fine-tune a model in order to create a trailer? In order to answer this question, you need to understand how image models work, at least the basics of it. So you can think of an image model as a magic black box where you input text and out comes an image. I'm sure you've probably tried a bunch of image models like Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, Flux, etc., etc. Let's go one level deeper and understand on a high level how these models are actually trained. So an image model is basically fed hundreds of thousands or even millions of images on various types of objects and various types of styles so that it can regenerate these images from scratch. For example, I click an image of a cat and I label it as cat and I feed it to the image model, and if I do this 100,000 times more and feed the model with 100,000 images of cats, it finally understands what the features of a cat are. And similarly, if I were to input 100, 200 images of Van Gogh paintings, the model eventually learns what Van Gogh paintings looks like. It understands that a certain kind of a brushstroke contributes to a Van Gogh painting. Certain kind of colors, certain kind of textures actually contribute to what looks like a Van Gogh painting. And therefore, it is able to learn these patterns and it's able to reproduce these patterns. The problem that we are facing over here is that GTA 6 is a new game, and no model understands what a GTA 6 style really means. So I will have to manually input that data and teach the model that, hey, listen, this is the GTA 6 style. I want you to replicate this style in the following images. The way we do that is by fine-tuning a model or creating something called as a low-rank adapter or a LoRa. So what we are going to attempt over here is to collect multiple images from the GTA 6 trailer and train a fine-tuned image model on the GTA 6 style. Now, I'm not going to go in depth into how to fine-tune a model or train a LoRa using the FluxDev model because I've created an in-depth video talking about exactly that over here. So if you haven't seen that video, I'd like all of you to pause this video right here, watch that video, learn how that process is done, and then come back over here because I'm just going to speed run through this process. So first of all, I have collected a bunch of images from the GTA 6 trailer. So this is one scene, an aerial shot. This is another scene. These are a bunch of characters, and you'll roughly need 20 to 25 images. So I'm going to use these images as input data and fine-tune an existing Flux model. In order to fine-tune image models on styles and characters, I'm going to use the FluxDev model as the base image model. So let's go to our tool wheel and let's select the FluxDev LoRa trainer. All right, and we have it right in front of our screen. Also, another thing that we're going to keep a track of throughout this video is every time I use a tool, I'm going to show you how much it cost me in order to use this tool so that by the end of this video, we can see how much it cost for us to make this short film trailer. So I'll create a new model. I'm going to call it GTA 6. I'm going to make it private. And here I'm going to input my existing files. So basically, I've converted all those images into a zip file. So I'm just going to upload the zip file. And my trigger word is going to be GTA 6 in all caps. I'm going to train it for 2000 steps. I'll put my Hugging Face repo ID. And I will put my Hugging Face token secret. And finally, I'm just going to click on this button and it is going to train the model for me. It will take roughly 15 to 20 minutes for LoRa in order to be trained. Okay. By the way, all the links that I'm showing over here has been shared down in the description, so you guys can check that out as well. I'm just going to go write my prompt over here. And I'm going to call the LoRa using the string that I just inputted, which is GTA 6. I'm going to put the link to the LoRa over here and let's generate. That actually looks like the GTA 6 style. So I think we have step 1 nailed down. Now, step 2 was the problem that I created for myself. I wanted to have my entire team as a part of this trailer. So I wanted them to play the characters and the NPCs that you're seeing in the trailer. So I asked them to send me 20 to 25 pictures of themselves that they've taken in different lighting formats, and I individually trained models for each of them. So far, we've trained 10 fine-tuned FluxDev models, and it cost me roughly about $20 in order to train it. So let's have it up here. Now that we've fine-tuned these models, both a style model as well as the character models, we're done with the fine-tuning room. Let's head to the diffusion rooms where we will use these fine-tuned models in order to create images that we need. I'll see you there. Welcome to the diffusion room. Now, why is this even called the diffusion room? Diffusion is basically the process in which you generate an image using text prompts. It's the technology that a lot of these image generators use, like Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, Flux, etc. In this room, we'll be using the fine-tuned models that we trained previously in order to generate images that we can later on convert into videos in the video room. Without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to bring up the tool wheel now, and the tool that we're going to be using mostly in this section is called Comfy UI. Comfy UI is an open source user interface that you can use in order to generate images from text and a lot more than that. You can download Comfy UI for free. I've given the GitHub repo link down there, so you can just go ahead, watch any tutorial on YouTube on how to install Comfy UI into your PC and get it done. By the way, if you want Comfy UI to work properly on your PC, you need a pretty powerful GPU. You need either a 3090 or a 4090. But we don't really have GPUs and we are running this on a laptop. How are we doing that? We have access to cloud GPUs. So we use a service called Jarvis Labs that actually gives us allocated cloud GPU servers, and we pay for it on an hourly basis. Now, if you've used any node-based software, you will kind of understand how Comfy UI works, because that's exactly what it is. It's a node-based image generator. You can see a lot of these fancy blocks and wirings. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, because then I'll have to take a 4 to 5 hour long masterclass on Comfy UI itself. By the way, if you are interested in learning Comfy UI in depth, we do teach it in depth for 2 months in our generative AI cohort. The next cohort is starting in Feb. We usually do a cohort every quarter. The links to the dates for the cohorts are also in the description. You can check them out. Without further ado, let's get started. So I'll just walk you through the basics of what you see over here. The workflow starts from the left side and it generates an image that you see on the right side. In the load diffusion model node, I add my base model, which is the Flux model. Then I load the clip models. And finally, there is the LoRa stack. Now here is where I add my fine-tuned models that I recently just created. So I've already added the GTA 6 model that I created, and I've also ordered my own fine-tuned model that is fine-tuned on my face and my character. So what this does is it basically combines both these models and it enables us to create an output that has both these models as their inputs. Now there are more nodes over here that unfortunately I can't really get too in-depth into, but again, you can watch a bunch of tutorials online in order to better understand this, or we have a cohort where we actually teach all of this. And this box that you see over here is the prompt bar, and this is where I will be using the prompts. Now the keyword that we'll use in order to recall the GTA 6 style from the fine-tuned image model is GTA 6. And the keyword to recall my character is boson. So let's actually just go ahead and test this. A photo of boson drinking pina colada on a beach in GTA 6 style. All right, let's hit Q prompt, and it's going to generate 3 images for us per batch. All right, so we have the first image, which is extremely funny. I seem to have blonde hair for some reason, so I'm definitely not using that. The second image definitely looks a lot like me. You can actually see the GTA 6 trailer style as well over here. And finally, oh wow, this is, I think, perfect. I love this image. It makes me look much more muscular than I actually am. I think I'm gonna go with this one. So as you can see, we have the GTA 6 style right here. You know, it's that style which is somewhere between being a game character as well as a realistic character. It's got my facial features right, it's got my skin tone right, it's got my hair right. I think this is absolutely perfect. Now, it is always good practice to generate more images than I need. So when I asked Comfy UI to generate me 3 images per batch, I wanted to do that because I knew that some of these images might turn out to be absolute crap. Let's actually try it on a different team member of mine. So I'm gonna try my co-founder, Siddhant. So I'm gonna load his fine-tuned model over here, and I'm gonna type in the prompt. So let's say a photo of Sid eating a burger at a beach shack in GTA 6 style. All right, let's cue prompt and see what comes out. All right, we have a photo of Sid eating a burger, but there's also a lady that just got spawned on the side, which really looks a lot like Sid as well. All right, I don't like this picture as well because the head is disproportionately big. So as you can see, this process is a lot of trial and error. You try generating a bunch of images. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and your job is to basically choose the best one. All right, the last picture is kind of decent. But comparing from all these 3, I actually like the first picture. It's the most decent out of all of them, so I'm probably going to go with that. Now, we're going to reference back to our script and storyboard. We know that we want certain kind of shots in the frames. Some of the shots have characters, some of the shots don't have characters. And what we're going to try and do is to get those kind of shots as images so that we can later on turn them into videos. So for example, in the script, there is roughly about 30 shots that is required in this trailer, right? That is 30 images that can later on be turned into videos. And some of these shots are harder than you think. And it might need like large prompts for it to actually generate the right kind of images. We're gonna get a large language model in order to generate us prompts that can be used in Comfy UI, which can instantly generate us the images that we want. And for this, I'm gonna go ahead into my tool wheel and select the next tool, which is my favorite LLM of all time, Claude. So Claude has a feature called Claude Projects, which is, I think, one of the best features in Claude. It is basically a feature where you provide the model with a lot of context on what you want your ideal output to look like. And then when you prompt that model, it actually generates outputs closer to what you actually want. I've done a full in-depth tutorial on how Claude Projects work and how I use Claude Projects in order to automate parts of my script writing process. And you can go watch that video right here. I highly recommend you do that because we give a lot of tips and tricks on how to use this feature in the best possible way. Once you're done with that, return over here and let's continue with the next step. So here, I've pasted a document with sample prompts that I want Claude to generate for me. And these are quite well-detailed prompts, right? These have complete descriptions of what is going on in the scene, what's in the foreground, what's in the background, what's the color scheme looking like, what are the tiny details in the prompt, etc., etc. And that's the level of detail that I want as well. And this is the basic prompt that I'm booting up Claude Projects with, which is, this is the kind of prompt I want you to create for Comfy UI to create GTA 6-like images for a trailer I'm preparing in a Mumbai Indian-based version. I will send you how the shot looks like with a sentence, and you give me the prompt which can create an output that I can use it for my trailer. All the prompts should mention GTA 6 because that's the priority, right? So I've clearly defined what is the scope of this to Claude, and let's see what Claude comes up with. I've prompted 3 gangsters celebrating Diwali. Make them look Indian with firecrackers. And it's already given me such a huge prompt. Okay, I'm just gonna skim through it. A cinematic night scene captures 3 Mumbai gangsters celebrating Diwali in GTA 6 hyper-realistic style. The shot is composed as a wide dramatic frame, photographed with virtual anamorphic lens, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes on to define all these characters. Vikram 28 dominates the center of the frame. He's 6 foot tall, commanding attention in a sleek designer black kurta. So it goes into every single detail of it. And I can honestly just copy and paste this entire prompt, and this model is basically going to generate me these characters in GTA 6 style. So I've basically used this model in order to generate me about 40 to 50 prompts that I'm then going to go to Comfy UI, and I'm going to paste this, and I'm going to try and get the images out. So let's actually try to generate a prompt that is going to be used in the trailer itself. Now here, I'm going to generate a shot of my co-founder, Siddhant, and his model is called Sid Laura. I'm going to type on Q prompt, and let's see what happens. All right, we have the first image ready. It shows a side face of Siddhant, but it's not a very rear view image. All right, we have the second image. I don't like this one as well, and now you see why we need to generate more than one image at a time, right? But basically, you understand the process. You have a certain scene that you want to recreate. I use Claude in order to generate a prompt for it. I copy paste that prompt into Comfy UI. I generate a bunch of iterations, and then I select my favorite image, and then I save that image into a folder that later on I'm going to turn it into a video. All right, the third image looks pretty decent. It has the rear view image. It has like a okay-ish looking police car in the background, and it has Sid's side view as well. All right, cost estimation time. In this part of the video, the only cost that is there is the GPU cost, the cloud GPU servers that we've actually rented on an hourly basis. We ended up spending roughly 6,000 rupees, which is about 75 US dollars. So let's add that to the cost bar. So I just showed you what the process was to generate one image, and I just generated the remaining 40 to 50 images in the background, and these are what they look like. So first we have this aerial shot of Mumbai city, then we go into this shot, then there's this one, there's a scene of this Bollywood gala night, there's a scene of police arresting someone in the street. I love the lighting in this scene. There's a scene of cash flowing into these cash counter things. So now that we have these images, it's time to move to the next room where we convert these images into videos using a bunch of AI video models. So I'll see you in the video room. Welcome to the video room. This is where we convert images into videos. We're going to bring up our two-wheel, and for this, we're going to use two tools, Runway ML Gen 3 and Halo. These are two of the best video generation models out there, and both of them have their own subscriptions costs associated with it. Runway, we are on the unlimited plan, which costs us $100 a month, and on Halo, we are on the standard plan, which costs about $10 a month. So roughly, it's about $110, which comes up to about 9,000 Indian rupees. So there are both pros and cons of Runway as well as Halo. Halo is really good for dynamic shots, whereas Runway is not really that great. Runway is great for static shots with lesser amount of movement, etc. So we'll be switching between these tools in order to use them for their strengths. So you remember this picture where Siddhant is actually looking into the rear side mirror? We're going to try and animate that and show Siddhant pulling out a gun as if he's about to shoot someone. Typical stuff that you see on GTA 6. So I'm going to go to haloai.video. Click on create and load my image. And this is the image that we had already generated. Now I'm going to just type a prompt. Man looking into rear view mirror and pulling out a gun. All right, let's click on this and let's see what it comes out with. And this is what the output looks like. That's exactly what we wanted. I mean, we got lucky this time because we got it in the first shot, but usually you have to prompt at least like 2 to 3 times if you want to get a great output. So I'm just going to save that and move on to the next image. And just like this, we end up creating about 40 to 50 videos from 40 to 50 images. I'll show you some more examples. And this time I'll use Runway. So for Runway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to app.runway.ml.com, create an account, buy a subscription, and click on Generative Session. I'm going to name this GTA 6, and I'm going to select my images. Let's go ahead with the prompt. Let's go with something like opening aerial shot of a movie. And I want, let's say, a 10-second shot. I'm just going to click on generate, and it's going to take some time to generate. So usually what I like to do is I like to set up like 2 to 3 iterations so that I don't end up wasting time on waiting for a single generation. All right, so we have the first frame ready. The helicopter is looking a little weird, but I think the waves and the roads all look pretty decent. Let's look at the second one. This one's pretty decent as well. And finally, the third one. The third one, the cars look a little weird. There's this weird car that's going sideways. Most of your job in terms of generating images and videos is basically just to keep iterating until you find the one that you really like. So the one that we ended up going for is this particular frame, where the helicopter looks fine, the cars look fine, everything looks fine. And the trick with generative AI video is the moment it starts getting bad, like for example, right now, you could see that a lot of these cars started getting blurry. I'm going to cut the video before that even happens. So a lot of working with generative AI models is about hiding its weaknesses. So this is going to be my establishing starting shot. And just like that, I'm going to convert every single image that I've generated into videos. And for this, I can also choose to use Claude projects in order to generate Runway ML or Halo prompts for me, but I'd like to stick with simpler prompts over here. So let me show you a few more examples of some shots that we've shot. So this is like a Bollywood gala night or something like that. So this was an image, and now we have this couple that's walking the red carpet. And since we're doing Mumbai, of course, we had to add some street food shots as well. So here we have a plate of samosa, and it's just a simple zoom in shot. Okay, I'll tell you something interesting. So this is the shot that actually ended up making it to the final cut. But as you can see, the cars are actually moving backwards. And this is a common problem that we've seen with video models. Whenever you ask it to generate a footage of a car moving forward, it just generates it moving backwards. So what we did was we took this footage and we reversed it in the editing software so that we can actually make it seem like the car is moving forward. So you'll have to work around the weaknesses of generative AI if you really want to get good outputs. And that's basically what the whole process is about. You'll only truly understand it once you get your hands dirty and once you start putting out these generations. Now let's go to Halo and let me show a few dynamic shots. So the prompt over here was police chasing with siren in Mumbai streets in GTA 6 style, and this is what the output basically looked like. Right? Some distortions here and there, but again, like I said, it's about hiding the weaknesses. We're not going to include that in the final cut. Here's another shot, which basically is a top-down dramatic scene of motorcycles approaching near the car with guns in GTA 6 style Mumbai version. And we have a nice looking scene of this car drifting, and there's smoke coming from the back, etc. So now that we have every single image turned into videos, we have about 40 to 50 videos. Now the whole job of AI is finally done, and it's time to get to the editing room. I'll see you there. Welcome to the final room, which is the editing room, which is one of the easiest rooms to be in. We'll be solving two main objectives in this room. Number one, selecting the music track in which the video is going to be based on, and number two, putting all the generated video shots together so that they look really nice as a trailer for GTA 6 Mumbai Edition. Let's start with number one. For this, I'm going to pull up my tool wheel and I'm going to select my next tool, which is Artlist. Now, Artlist is a website that does quite a lot of things, but for this video, we're going to be using it for licensed music. It costs about $9 a month, so that's going to be added onto our cost meter over here, and it gives us license-free music. So the kind of song that I'm looking for is something which is fast-paced, rock and punk song. And let's see what options we have. So we have something called On a Roll. Let's hear it out. Okay, that's a pretty good candidate. Let's see another one. This one's literally called Fast As You Can. After a lot of scrolling, we have this one song that I really liked called Going Blind, and this is what it sounds like. Always a step behind. It's just like I'm going blind. Ever have to lose, I will never get to choose. So I kind of like the vocals. I like the way it builds up. So this sounds like the perfect song to be a part of the video. So we're done with objective one, which is select the song. And now for objective two, put everything on the timeline and edit it and paste it according to the music. Now, I'm not the best editor over here, so my team basically did all the work over here, so props to them. And once you've put everything together, this is what the editing timeline looks like. Multiple shots, no fancy animations and stuff like that, just a bunch of well-paced shots, well-paced music, and a few bits of text here and there especially when it comes to things like, 100x presents, GTA 6, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And last but not the least, the classic GTA 6 logo reveal. Now here we use the original GTA 6 logo from the trailer itself, but we also added our own twist, which is adding Mumbai Edition onto it. And by the way, we used Premiere for editing, but honestly, there are a lot of free softwares available like InShots or CapCut, etc. that you can also use. So I'm assuming the cost for editing the video is nothing. Because you don't need to use a complicated software with animations and stuff like that. It's basic pacing, music, as well as text, which a lot of free editing softwares also do. And that's about it. We are done. We have just created Grand Theft Auto 6 Mumbai Edition completely using AI. And now it's time for the cost analysis. So far, it's cost us about $215 which is roughly 17,000 Indian rupees. Now, if a traditional animation studio or a trailer making or a filmmaking studio were to make something like this, I'm sure you would also agree that it would cost them way more than 17,000 rupees in order to make this. So what we were able to do here was the same level of output, high quality at a fraction of the cost. Go watch the actual trailer. This video, although slightly complex, I hope was understandable to a lot of you. I hope you guys are able to go ahead and create your own versions of short films. If you do tag us on any platform, Twitter, Instagram. We go by the name @100x Engineers. I would love to see and give feedback or just give my views on what you guys have created as well. Hit the subscribe button, and last but not the least, we at 100x, we love building things and we love people who build things, and we keep doing hackathons usually every quarter. We have a hackathon that is coming up in a few months. We haven't finalized the date, but it's going to be sometime in the month of April or May. We have the registrations for this generative AI build-a-thon that is open. AI filmmaking, by the way, is one of the categories in this build-a-thon. So we literally have a filmmaking competition that is purely based out of AI. We did our last build-a-thon back in December. It was absolutely kick-ass, and it was one of the biggest generative AI build-a-thons done on the entire planet so far. We are going to go bigger and better this time. So if you're interested in joining one of the categories, which is filmmaking, LLMs, and agents, do sign up. We have the link in the description. And last but never the least, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.